So a new documentary digging deep, combining history, culture, and religion, attempting to answer the fundamental question: did the biblical exodus from Egypt, with Moses leading the way, actually happen?
So far, there is no documented evidence about the Exodus.
Exodus did not happen in the way that it is described in the text.
How can we prove that?
You look for a collapse in Egyptian civilization, and that's where you'll find Moses and the Exodus.
If we can prove there even was an Exodus.
Well, the film chronicles an in-depth archaeological investigation into the search for evidence and answers. It is fascinating. And joining me now, the Patterns of Evidence, the Exodus filmmaker, Tim Mahoney, who happens to be a fellow Minnesotan. Thanks so much for being here, Tim.
Well, it's good to be here.
This is a fascinating project that you worked 12 years on, traveling back and forth between Israel and Egypt and other places. You said that you wanted to find the answers because you grew up as a Christian, and you wanted to know if the Exodus actually happened. Why was it so important?
Well, what originally happened was I actually thought the Exodus had happened before I went to those locations. But when I got there, they said, well, in fact, I was searching for the route of the Exodus because it was an exciting opportunity to make a film about the crossing sites or which mountain would have Moses and the Israelites have gone to. But they said, well, why are you searching for the route when the Exodus never happened in the first place? And that was startling to me.
Okay, so what you showcase throughout this documentary is that your findings after 12 years mean that maybe historians and archaeologists got the timeline wrong. Why?
Well, what ended up happening was most Egyptologists and archaeologists today in mainstream think that the Exodus happened at a particular time, as you're saying, around the time of Ramesses. And so when they've looked at that time, they've actually found that there is no evidence for that. And that was what I was told. And but then I continued. I had a crisis of faith in this a little bit, as we've mentioned. And when I looked at it, I thought, well, there's got to be some other answers here, because this is such a huge event. And I found other answers from other Egyptologists and scholars who had a different way of looking at things, a different interpretation.
Shifting it back 250 to 400 years. And then after you do that, all these events in the Bible start to line up, and there's evidence behind them.
Exactly. There's evidence for 6 major events that the Bible speaks about. And people have just looked at them today, and they said, oh, well, that's just a coincidence, or that's just another coincidence. It couldn't have happened. It only had to happen at this time. So what this film does is it takes a whole new, fresh look at it, and really says, well, if you're going to look at the story of the Bible, where would you look in history? You know, let's just be open about it and look any place. And that's what the film does. And it finds all 6 of those events in a sequence. And that's why I think this film is so powerful today. And now what I've done is I've allowed both sides to speak, though, as you saw.
Oh, yeah, no, it's very fair and balanced, keeping right with how we do things at Fox as well. And I was sharing with you, my 11-year-old daughter watched it with me. She happens to be studying this in school right now. She thought it was spectacular, and she shared it with her other schoolmates. So we want to tell folks where this is going to be, right, Tim?
Right.
So you don't want to miss this one-night special event. Patterns of Evidence is playing in movie theaters all across the country this Monday, January 19th. And during the movie, I will be moderating a very special panel discussion with a faith-based expert panel, including Father Jonathan Morris, Ruth Graham Lotz, Dennis Prager, and Eric Metaxas. To find a theater near you, log on to patternsofevidence.com and come join us Monday night. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.